رب العالمين وصلى الله على محمد وعلى الطاهرين. First, I would like to thank the community for giving me this opportunity, and especially to the IEC management. It's an honor and pleasure. It's the first time I'm speaking here, and inshallah it will be an experience for both of us, inshallah, and benefit from your presence. Although they assigned a particular title for me in these 3 nights, and that title, inshallah, will be covering in some detail. The title was in relation to, as they put it, self-recognition and its challenges. And inshallah, I'll try and open up some aspects of this important theme and relate it to the occasion that we're commemorating these days. But I want to start off with a letter which Imam Khomeini, rahmatullah alayhi, wrote to the then president of the Soviet Union. Today, many of the Maraji also write letters to the West. It's becoming a custom. This letter is a letter which is very unique. And its style, its content, its depth, no one has still yet to really open this up. Ayatollah Jawadi Amuri has written a commentary. Just imagine someone who's a marja himself has written a commentary on Imam Khomeini's letter. And that just shows the depth of the letter which Imam gave. It was given to the president of the then Soviet Union, but it was a letter to the West in general, answering the question how to come to Islam. For Muslims and non-Muslims, but those who are in the West, what is the route to get to Islam, to be invited to Islam? Or, in other words, how should Islam be introduced in the West? Because it can't be the same as it's introduced in the East. There has to be some difference. We can't expect it to be the same. Now, I'm only going to read one paragraph, and I'm only reading it just as a preliminary to the main discussion at hand. At the end, towards the end, he gives a list of names of important scholars that those in the West should read about. And he starts with the philosophers such as Farabi and Avicenna. Then he speaks about mystic philosophers, Suhrawardi and Mullah Sadra. And with each one, he says why these books should be read. For each one, he gives a reason why Suhrawardi should be read, why Avicenna should be read. See, this is a practical protocol for those in the West, if only they knew. At the end, he says this: I shan't tie you further, and shall not name books of the Urafa, especially those of Muhyiddin ibn Arabi.
صلى على محمد وآل محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
Because assuming you desire to be informed of the discussions and writings of this great personality, you must send a number of your genius, specialist experts who have a strong basis in such matters to Qom, so that after several years, with tawakkul, with reliance upon Allah, they can become aware of the depth and thinner than hair delicateness of the stations of ma'rifah, for without making such a journey, awareness of such knowledge is not possible. So here, philosophy and irfan are very important tools to introduce to the West when you want to introduce Islam to them. Now, alhamdulillah, the leader, the imam of your community as his father was very close with Imam's older son. I remember when I met him for the first time, I think 2 or 3 years ago, he was explaining how Imam's older son, Shaheed Mustafa Khomeini, was very close with his father, and inshallah, I'm sure you've already benefited from these experiences, but really make the most out of it, because Shaheed Mustafa Khomeini was a very unique personality too, and he would have continued Imam's line in all Imam's fields. But here Imam is saying Irfan has to be introduced to the West. Now, Muhyiddin ibn Arabi, at that time in Qom, to be most polite, the scholars who were predominantly governing the Hawza at that time, and the Maraji also, to be polite, they would say he was of the Sunni denomination. Although there were many who would say he was even, God forbid, kafir. That's a separate discussion, I don't want to go there. But Imam Khomeini and many Ayatollahs who have specialized in these fields, they have another opinion. But it doesn't matter whether he was Sunni or Shia, because in Irfan, the terms Sunnism and Shiism don't apply as they do in fiqh and theology. In spirituality, it goes beyond these terms. But it's important. Now, I want to explain why in the next few nights it's important, and the practical protocols that we should incorporate in this line. Ayatollah Hassanzadeh Omari, Hafadahullah, in one of his works says, in reality, if it were not for the learning and teaching of the likes of, so if it wasn't for the teaching and learning of the likes of the following books, now he gives a list of books. Tamheed al-Qawaid by Ibn Turki is the first book of Irfan they teach in the Hawzas after 10 years of basic sciences. Shawahid al-Rububiyyah by Mullah Sadra. Khaji Tusi's commentary of Isharat. Isharat is a book of philosophy and Irfan by Avicenna. Khaji Tusi has a famous commentary of it. If it wasn't for the likes of these books, the list continues. Fusus al-Hikam is by Ibn Arabi, the second book of Irfan they teach in the Hawzas and Qom. And its commentaries, especially Allama Qaysari's. Asfar, the last book in philosophy they teach in Qom. Misbah al-Uns, the third and last book in Irfan they teach in the Hawzas by Ibn Fanari. Shifa, book in philosophy by Ibn Sina. And Futuhat al-Makkiyah, a very major work of Ibn Arabi, but it's not taught, at least not properly. If it wasn't for these books, all of them Irfani and philosophical, Ayatollah Hassanzadeh was saying, the understanding of secrets that are concealed in ahadith, which are the butun of the verses of the Quran, the butun being the inner dimensions, the esoteric dimensions of the Quran, the understanding of secrets that are concealed in ahadith, which are the butun of the verses of the Quran, will not be feasible. In all truth, these aforementioned noble books must be deemed as esoteric interpretations for elevating one's understanding of the Muhammadan message. See, without these books, one's understanding of the Muhammadan message will be limited. The secrets, the wisdoms, the spirit of the law won't be disclosed. And if you just suffice with the dhahir of religion, it's good, it's important, it's step one. You should never do without it. But if you suffice with it, you're limiting yourself and you're limiting Islam. Now these are specialists who have studied the major textbooks of Irfan with the right ustads. Not like me and you we've never studied, we don't have good ustads, and then we just give ourselves the right to give an opinion. These are specialist areas. People who have studied 20, 30 years in one or two areas. These people have studied hard. One was Imam Khomeini, one is Ayatollah Hassan Zadeh Amali, and there are others too. Now, in the Quran, do we see allusions to, references to the Batini message? So far, I gave those two introductory paragraphs to say that the Batin, the esoteric aspect of Islam is important. Don't spend all your life without paying heed to this aspect. It's a pity. You're wasting yourself. The Batini aspect which the Urafa have paid heed to, Urafa who are also Fuqaha, it's important. It's even important for your youth that you have. Youth who you brought and you took into academic settings and institutions in this country, who have taught your youth to question everything. When you want to answer the shubahat, there's nothing as strong as philosophy and irfan. And these are very important tools. When your youth want to know the wisdoms behind certain actions, irfan teaches it. Yes, it's all extrapolated from the Quran, the Ahadith. But it has a different set of standards, irfan. It's different to other sciences. It focuses on the inner dimensions. If all your life you did the wudu, 2 washings and 2 wipings, and that's all you understood from it. And then your son or daughter comes out of the shower, and you say, go and do the wudu, we want to do salat, and they say, we've just had a shower. Why do I need to do the wudu? This is much cleaner. How are you going to answer? You see? You can't just answer based on the letter of the law. How are you going to answer them? These shubahat are increasing by the day. Parents who have come from the East, they don't know how to answer these questions to their youth. I have the right to say that because I'm receiving their emails. There's a big culture clash here. It's very severe. It's peaceful on the outside, but the emails are showing a very ugly picture. But inshallah, in future generations, this will be alleviated. But right now, the youth are having problems. They're not being satiated. They're not getting the answers they want. In the Quran, chapter 2, verse 174, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ يَكْتُمُونَ مَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهُ مِنَ الْكِتَابِ. Those who are hiding that which Allah has revealed from the book. Hiding. They're hiding something. This is the operative term here. Those who are hiding that which Allah has revealed from the book, وَيَشْتَرُونَ بِهِ ثَمَنًا قَلِيلًا, and they trade it for a cheap price. They're hiding something. In return for hiding something, they're getting a cheap price. أُولَٰئِكَ مَا يَأْكُلُونَ فِي بُطُونِهِمْ إِلَّا النَّارِ. These people, they're not consuming anything in their insides but fire. وَلَا يُكَلِّمُهُمُ اللَّهُ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ. Allah doesn't speak with them in the hereafter. That means Allah speaks with people in this dunya. The hereafter is just a manifestation of this dunya's actions. The capacity is there. It has different levels and degrees. But this verse shows that. إِنَّ الدُّنْيَا مَزْرَعَةُ الْآخِرَةِ. The world is the hereafter's farmyard. You reap what you sow. But the hereafter is just manifesting your actions. وَبُرِّزَتِ الْجَحِيمِ. It just manifests. Not that the hereafter starts after you die. It's already here. You're in the process of making it, moment to moment. But after death, it will appear before you. So Allah can speak with us to differing levels. To Nabi Musa alayhi salam to one degree, and to those below him to another degree. But these people, Allah will speak to any degree. وَلَا يُزَكِّيهِمْ, and Allah won't spiritually cleanse them either. That means they won't spiritually cleanse in this dunya. Why? Because they were hiding something. Look, they were hiding something. Now, the superficial narrative of this verse is in relation to an event, a historical narrative which happened. It was in relation to the scholars of preceding religions, the references in their books of our Holy Messenger, they were hiding. Okay, that's the superficial aspect. But إِنَّ لِلْقُرْآنِ ظَهْرًا وَبَطْنًا وَلِبَطْنِهِ بَطْنًا إِلَى سَبْعَةِ أَبْطَانٍ. The Quran and the verses have a zahir, a superficial narrative, and a batin. And the batin has a batin. The inner dimension has a further inner dimension. 7 times over. In some other traditions it says 70 times over. In some 7,000. The batin is limitless. It's infinite. Because Allah's knowledge is manifested in this Quran, and that has no end. The butun has no end. The butun, in contrast to the zahir, knows of no time. The batini interpretation of verse of the Quran knows of no time. It's applicable to all people of all types until the last day. Whereas the superficial narrative has a limited jurisdiction. Do we have access to the butun? Of course we do. But do we have 100% access? Only if the Ma'soom opens it up. Are we allowed to try and extrapolate the butun? Of course we are. It's like in fiqh. Here, in the science of fiqh, the scientists in fiqh, the fuqaha, they endeavor and try to extrapolate the ruling. Is it 100% the actual ruling? Of course we can't say that. In some cases we can say that. In many cases we can't. But they went through the principles of fiqh when they extrapolated. They didn't make up their own story. They went to the best of their capacity with the protocol and principles of fiqh. They extrapolated the rulings. Can you put your hand on the Quran and say, oh, this is 100%, as if the Ma'soom was here, he would say the same? Of course not. The same with the Butuni sciences. Allama Tabatabai in his Al-Mizan has opened this discussion up under verse 7 in chapter 3. There, also in the Butuni sciences, because you can't deny with all the traditions which speak about the batin, it's undeniable. Can we extrapolate it? Yes. We have so many traditions where the Imams have given the codes. When the Imam says water is ma'rifah, or arad is the heart, in certain traditions, these are codes they're giving. We're not just making it up. There are principles in the Butuni sciences. And the fuqaha in these sciences too, they extrapolate. Can they say it's 100%? No. But just because of that no, do we just put it all aside? Of course not. Like we don't put fiqh aside. What is the batini message here? The zahir was those scholars who would hide certain parts of previous revelations preceding the Quran. But what's the message for scholars today? Scholars of today, what's the message here? Or what is the message for all people today? What shouldn't they hide? What should people have to be careful not to hide something? What shouldn't they hide so that they don't have this fate? مَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهُ مِنَ الْكِتَابِ, that which Allah has revealed from the book. We shouldn't hide it. Now you may say, well, of course no one is hiding it. The Quran, the Arabic Quran we have, it's all there. No one can hide it. But that's not the whole picture here. Yes, the Zahir, no one can hide this Arabic book. But what about the Butun of the Quran? مَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهُ مِنَ الْكِتَابِ is used in the absolute sense. With understanding the Butuni interpretations, you can take the absolute sense of the verses. You're not bound by time and place, like with the Zahiri tafsir of verses, that you would be bound with the occasions of revelation. مَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهُ مِنَ الْكِتَابِ, that which Allah has revealed from the book, it's used in the absolute sense, covering, embracing that which Allah has revealed from the book. It's Zahir and it's Batin. Be careful you're not one of those who are hiding the Batini message. And you do it for a cheap price. Your worldly interests may be compromised if the Batini message of Islam comes out. Your prestige, your honor may be compromised if the Batini message comes out. Your power that you've acquired may be compromised. You don't want the Batini message. Like the likes of Imam Khomeini is saying it's very essential, especially in the West. And you're doing everything that this message doesn't come out. Be careful. Otherwise your fate will be like this. That's one verse. In chapter 2, verse 4, وَالَّذِينَ يُؤْمِنُونَ بِمَا أُنزِلَ إِلَيْكَ وَمَا أُنزِلَ مِنْ قَبْلِكَ. When describing the muttaqeen, part of the description says, those who believe that which has been revealed to you, O Messenger of Allah, the Quran, and that which has been revealed to those before you, those previous books. The muttaqeen, they believe. But what does that mean? Why is it that this level of muttaqeen is a high degree of muttaqeen? We know that because the start of the second verse, it says, ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ. It doesn't say هَذَا الْكِتَابُ. Even though translations, they translate ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ as this book. But this is Allah's words. You can't, play around with them. This translation, this book, you've lost 90% of the meaning, automatically. ذَلِكَ, demonstrative pronoun, means that book. There's a difference between the هَذَا realm and the ذَلِكَ realm. Sometimes the Quran says هَذَا رَبِّي. In relation to Allah, it says this Lord. Sometimes the Quran says ذَلِكُمُ اللَّهُ, that Allah. Look, there are meanings here. There are degrees of the book, degrees of Allah. Each person, based on their capacity, will benefit from Allah, will benefit from the book. But dhalika is of a higher rank. I don't want to, that's a separate lecture, but just pay attention to that. But then, muttaqeen, it says, dhalika al-kitab la rayba fi. Dhalika al-kitab la rayba fi. There's no doubt in it. If it was the hadha al-kitab, it wouldn't have said la rayba fi. Because Because we have mutashabahat, which yudhillu man yasha and yahdi man yasha. The mutashabahat can be a source of misguidance for many if they don't go along the correct protocol. This muttaqin explained here is a high degree. It's saying these muttaqin, they believe in that which has been revealed to you, O Messenger of Allah, and to that which has been revealed before you. But what does that mean? Because we know the sharias, the ahkam of previous religions, much of it has been abrogated. And we're not supposed to have iman towards them. Iman towards them. Here, this is used in the absolute sense too. That which has been revealed to you, the muttaqin believe, and before you, the revelations before you, the muttaqin believe, but the batini aspect, yes, the batini aspect, no problem. We have iman, even with the batini message of previous religions. Not the zahiri, because that's been abrogated. But the batin of all religions we accept. There are differences in degree. With the Holy Quran, its butun is 100%. It's more perfect in degree than the other books, batin. And that's because of the nature of the Holy Messenger. But still, here it suggests that the butun here is meant, not the zahir. Otherwise it wouldn't give reference to other revelations. Supporting this is the last part of the verse, the same verse. وَبِالْآخِرَةِ هُمْ يُوقِنُونَ. This will buttress the point that we're raising. These people have yaqeen in relation to akhirah. But what does akhirah mean? يَعْلَمُونَ ظَاهِرًا مِنَ الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا وَهُمْ عَنِ الْآخِرَةِ هُمْ غَافِلُونَ. They know the zahir of the worldly life. But in relation to akhirah, they are heedless. They're neglecting it. They're heedless. But akhirah is used in opposition to ظاهرا من الحياة الدنيا. That means akhirat is باطن من الحياة الدنيا. It's the batin. Wherever you see akhirah in the Quran, it's alluding to the batin of the worldly life. In chapter 2, verse 85, starting from the middle, أَفَتُؤْمِنُونَ بِبَعْضِ الْكِتَابِ وَتَكْفُرُونَ بِبَعْضٍ. Do you disbelieve in part of the book? Do you believe in part of the book and disbelieve and deny other parts of the book? فَمَا جَزَاءُ مَنْ يَفْعَلُ ذَلِكَ مِنْكُمْ إِلَّا خِزْيٌ فِي الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا. And those who do this accept part of the book, but they don't accept other parts of the book, their recompensation will be nothing but disgrace in this world. The zahir is in relation to people who, even on the superficial verse of the Quran, they accept some verses and they don't accept others. They accept some superficial verse of the Quran, but they deny other verses. That's different to someone who is weak in iman. They accept it, but they don't practice it. That's not what is meant here. Some people just deny it. Not that they accept, but they don't practice it. I'm not speaking about that. For example, during occultation, does Islam need a leader to enforce Islam or not? During occultation of the 12th Imam, does Islam need a leader or not? If you say no, and we have to wait for the 12th Imam, well, yes. Even according to the explicit, superficial aspect, you're accepting some of the book and denying other parts of the book. And your fate will be nothing but disgrace in this world. sooner or later. Be careful. Because Islam is a comprehensive religion, eternal until the last day. The coming of the Imam may be in 3,000 years' time. Is Islam just going to be kept on hold? You know, no leadership. We don't need an enforcer. That goes against the message of Ghadir. Yes, we don't have a Ma'soom to enforce it now. But does that mean it has to be on hold? You've abrogated religion, albeit temporarily. This is problematic. Leadership has to be there. Unless you want your leadership to be the presidents and the prime ministers of the time, yes. You want them to lead you. But don't say Islam hasn't provided a protocol for leadership. But on the Batini sense, those who accept some of the book and deny other parts, when you look at it in the absolute sense, they accept some of the book, the Zahir, and they deny some of the book, the Batin. They deny it. Their fate will be nothing but disgrace in this world. There's one story in the Quran. The stories of the Quran are very important. The butun, the esoteric dimensions of these stories. This story also highlights the importance of butun, the esoteric dimensions. This is also in the second surah. Today a little verses from the second surah has been mentioned. It's in relation to Nabi Musa alayhi salam and Bani Israel. وَأَنزَلْنَا عَلَيْكُمُ الْمَنَّ وَالسَّلْوَى. And we sent down to you manna and salwa, either bread and bird flesh, or according to some traditions, honey and bird flesh. There are variations here, but for simplicity's sake, I'm referring to bird and bread and the flesh of meat, which is pertaining to bird, a particular form of bird. And we sent down, look, sent down upon you bread and meat. It's coming from above. This story has a historical narrative. It happened. But the Batini message is important here. Let's first get the Zahir clarified and then we'll enter the Batin. Kulu min tayyibati ma razaqnakum. Eat of the pure things, of the good things we have provided for you. We've sent down food. Eat of the good things we have given to you. وَمَا ظَلَمُونَا وَلَكِنْ كَانُوا أَنفُسَهُمْ يَظْلِمُونَ. They don't wrongdo us. All they do is they wrongdo their own souls, themselves. And this is referring to a very important Quranic principle, but I can't open that right now. Then the same story, 2 or 3 verses later, وَإِذْ قُلْتُمْ. Remember when you said, remember Bani Israel when you said, Ya Musa, لَن نَصْبِرَ عَلَى طَعَامٍ وَاحِدٍ. When you said, O Musa, we cannot endure, we can never endure, we're not patient with this one type of food. We can't endure it. It was sent from above. They said we're not patient with it. We want something else. فَادْعُ لَنَا رَبَّكَ يُخْرِجْ لَنَا مِمَّا تُنبِتُ الْأَرْضُ. Call upon your Lord for us so that He can bring forth that which grows from the earth. Allah sent them food from above. They said, we don't endure this. Give us that which is grown from down, from the earth. من بقلها herbs, وقثائها cucumbers, وفومها garlic, وعدسها lentils, وَبَصَلِهَا, onions. These foods, the earthly foods, which is being brought forth from below, we can't endure that manna and salwa, which has been come from above. Here, esoterically, and this we have other verses and traditions, that food is referring to knowledge. And actually the tradition is from Imam Baqir alayhi salam. فَلْيَنْظُرِ الْإِنسَانُ إِلَىٰ طَعَامِهِ. One has to observe towards one's food. And when asked, which food is this? The Imam didn't say the physical food, even though that's part of the answer. He went to the batini food, the spiritual food, and said you have to be careful who you get knowledge, ma'rifah from. Food, one of its batini meanings that we have from the Imams in this tradition from Imam Baqir alayhi salam, who is Baqir the splitter of knowledge. The butun comes from the dhahir, it's split. He has many instances of this, where after the dhahir now is splitting knowledge. He lets the batin manifest. But he did that after almost 3 decades of the holy du'as of his father, Imam Sajjad, Sayyid al-Sajjadiyya. Over 30 years of du'as and ma'arif. He came and now started splitting knowledge. Food is ma'arif, ma'rifah. Bani Israel was given ma'rifah. It came from Allah, it came from above. Ma'rifah came from above. They said, we can't endure ta'amin wahid, pure tawheed. We can't endure it. Ma'rifah. Ma'rifah was given to them from above. It was tawheed in its real form. They said, we can't endure this. Some people can't endure tawheed. It's difficult for them. Chapter 39, verse 45. وَإِذَا ذُكِرَ اللَّهُ وَحْدَهُ. When Allah is mentioned, only Allah. No pure tawheed. No tawheed which is contaminated in any way, theoretically or practically. When Allah is mentioned, wahda, only Allah. Pure tawheed. اشمأزت قلوب الذين لا يؤمنون بالآخرة. The hearts that do not believe in Akhirah. What was Akhirah? The batin. The hearts that don't believe in the batin, اشمأزت. They shrink with aversion. They may be Muslim, but they shrink with aversion. Don't like it. When Allah is mentioned alone, wahda, tawheed is difficult. It's not easy to endure it. Maybe 95% me, you. How much tawheed are we studying? الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ. These two, aqaid and action, they come hand in hand, side by side. We do the actions, and we suffice with the dhahir of those actions. But aqaid, how much are we studying tawheed? How much are we studying these doctrinal issues? And when you only study when you only do the actions and there's no strong ilm and aqaid accompanying those actions, you're like a bird with one wing. You'll never reach your destination. And with one wing, actually, you'll deviate sooner or later. لَنْ نَسْفَرَ عَلَى طَعَامٍ وَاحِدٍ. We'll never endure one kind of food, the spiritual food. They were given the spiritual food. He said, we can't endure it. Give us the earthly, the worldly food. That's what we want. You see? Spirituality won't be said, no, just give us the dhahiri things. Then the Quran continues, قَالَ أَتَسْتَبْدِلُونَ الَّذِي هُوَ أَدْنَى بِالَّذِي هُوَ خَيْرٌ. Are you, Nabi Musa is saying, are you exchanging that which is better, food, knowledge coming from above, with that which is lower, the earthly knowledge of the earthly realm? You're sufficing with the dhahiri, the earthly aspect. Is this an exchange you're making? اهبطوا مصرا فإن لكم ما سألتم. Go down to the city. It has a superficial meaning, esoterically, the earthly dimension. And you'll get what you ask for. Don't worry. Your earthly, your worldly, whatever you want, you get. You'll get. Don't worry about it. But get down from here. وَضُرِبَتْ عَلَيْهِمُ الذِّلَّةُ وَالْمَسْكَنَةُ. Humiliation and poverty, they were struck by these two. Whoever denies the batin and suffices with the dhahir, humiliation, illa khizyun, the previous verse, and poverty. Don't trade this for a cheap price because of honor, because of money, because of name, reputation. No. Don't be struck with poverty and humiliation. وَبَاءُوا بِغَضَبٍ مِّنَ اللَّهِ. They return with Allah's wrath. Look, when you neglect the batin, the ma'rifah that is being sent to you for the earthly, the wrath of Allah will accompany you. ذَلِكَ بِأَنَّهُمْ كَانُوا يَكْفُرُونَ بِآيَاتِ اللَّهِ. This was because they used to deny the signs of Allah, the butun being the signs esoterically, وَيَقْتُلُونَ النَّبِيِّينَ بِغَيْرِ الْحَقِّ. And they used to kill the prophets unjustly. Look, Bani Israel would do that. That's what you do when you forget the spirit of the law. The Da'ishi, Salafi movements, which leads to them even eating parts of the bodies of holy figures of Islam. It all started here. They did يَقْتُلُونَ النَّبِيِّينَ today, and we're seeing it because they reject the batini message of Islam. يَقْتُلُونَ النَّبِيِّينَ, killing the prophets. Yes, Bani Israel, they killed many. What does it mean esoterically for me and you? How can we kill prophets today? And that's very frightening. We have to be very careful here. Don't just read this as a historical narrative, it's all finished. It doesn't happen to us. Alhamdulillah, our messenger was the last prophet. It doesn't apply to us anymore. No. You deny the batini message of Islam, you're making yourself susceptible to killing prophets today. What does that mean though? What does it mean to kill the imams today? What does it mean to kill the 12th imam today? Not physically, esoterically. Have we killed the imam today? The point being, if you deny the batini message, you're running this risk. And you may very well be on the wrong side when the imam appears. 72 is a small number, wallahi. It started in its thousands, the caravan of Imam Hussein. We shouldn't fool ourselves. Most of us would have been on the wrong side there. Look, most of us would have been on the wrong side. The Imam said, if you're in debt, don't join the caravan. There, automatically with you brothers who are drowned in this capital system here, and most of you have debts, finished. Being in debt, if it's a halal debt, it's jaiz, permissible. But spiritually, it's problematic. It compromises one's tawheed when you're in debt. You're relying on someone. I don't want you to panic and, but I'm just saying it's not easy. These messages aren't easy. How can we kill the Imam? Or have we already killed the Imam? Has anyone seen the Imam? Has anyone dreamt of the Imam? Has anyone had a vision of the Imam? النظر إلى وجه علي عبادة. Seeing. Seeing the face of Amir al-Mu'mineen is ibadah. Which face? Oh, those munafiqeen. They would see Amir al-Mu'mineen every day. Was that ibadah? Was it just a physical face? Was that ibadah? If you dream of Amir al-Mu'mineen, or have a vision, a tamathul of Amir al-Mu'mineen, where you're awake and you see him, but not with the physical eye, with the same eye that you dream, but you're awake though. If you see him, and in the Quran, إِنَّهُ عِلْمُ الْغَيْبِ فَهُوَ يَرَى, does one have knowledge of the unseen, knowledge of ghaib, the metaphysical, to qualify as a seer? Not this thing with the physical eye which animals also do. And إِنَّهُ عِلْمُ الْغَيْبِ فَهُوَ يَرَى, does one have knowledge of the unseen, the metaphysical? Have we seen the Imams all this time? Inshallah, the quicker the better, but most probably none of us will be here when the physical coming of the Imam happens. And then, all this time, this one we never saw, we never dreamt, we never tasted. If that's the case, you've buried your Imam. يَقْتُلُونَ النَّبِيِّينَ. Sorry if that's a bit heavy, but we have to wake up. If you suffice with the Zahir, you've never had a vision, you've never had a tamathul, you've buried him. And if he was to come, you'll bury him or try to bury him again. من مات ولم يعرف إمام زمانه مات ميتة جاهلية. One who dies ولم يعرف, يعرف doesn't have irfan of the Imam of the time. Oh, the words are, hold on, no. لم يعلم, لم يعرف. They've died the death of one who dies in the time of Jahiliyyah. Oh, you've buried your Imam. Yes, if you try to have irfan of your Imam and you die, that's okay. You endeavored. At least you endeavored. But we have to try. How? How do we have to try? The answer is Ma'rifatun Nafs, which Al-Mu'tamoi opens, and I'll start with that tomorrow. But the Quran has given the answer to a very important verse. Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim. Alif Lam Mim Ghulibatir Rum. Rome, or the Eastern Empire of Rome, the Byzantines, is defeated. Fi adna al-ard, in the closest or lowest place. This has a superficial meaning, but it has a batini meaning, more relevant. Rome was defeated in a land nearby or a lowly land. وهم من بعد غلبهم سيغلبون. And they, after their defeat, they will defeat. After being defeated, they were defeated by the Persians. But after their defeat, they will then become victorious. في بضع سنين, in a number of years, in the tradition of Ahlul Bayt, they say 3 to 10. لله الأمر من قبل ومن بعد. And the secret lies in this clause. Inshallah, we'll continue tomorrow. وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطاهرين.